making some progress tonight on the Fiero model kit, the cutaway Fiero that I've been working on for a while. The engine is pretty much done. The undercarriage, I've gone into a little hyper detailing mode here, where instead of using the original plastic parts, these are the coolant tubes, which I painted and I was going to install on the kit. I decided let me try for a little more realism, and instead of using these plastic parts, I went and I got some metal shapes, which is a aluminum tube, 1/16 inch. Comes with 16 p. Wait, was this right? Yeah. And they are basically the same diameter as the original plastic parts, and with a bit of bending and trial and error, the kit now has much more realistic looking coolant tubes running from the engine compartment to the front of the car. Really good representation of the stainless steel tubes that run along each side of the car. Very happy with the way that came out. And now here is the tough part of the whole deal, which is the hyper detailing of the engine. The quarter here is shown for size reference, so you can see how small it really is. The engine has been fully wired. Let's see if I can zoom in on that a little bit more. As you can see, I've added quite a few details that were not available on the kit, as it's not the most accurate representation of this engine. Here is a aluminum distributor, a kit I bought years ago, made by Detail Master. It's good for 124 for 125th scale cars. Multiple parts to build your complete distributor. V8 and 6-cylinder cars. 4 cylinders also. Here's a few of the leftover parts that weren't necessary. These are all photo etched, as you can see. A finger for size comparison, how small these parts are. Or let's put the quarter back here, and you can see how small these photo etched parts are. Now that was used to make the distributor. Let's see if we can focus in on that. Can we focus? There it is. Also came with the spark plug wires, the wire retainer, which was not the easiest thing in the world to put together, but looks really good once it's done. For added realism, I also included the PCV line. And the complete engine and transaxle assembly is done, unless I decide to add a little more detail to it. Here's the backside, the ones that we know are so much fun to get to when we have to do plugs on these cars. Let's see if we can't focus in on that. Okay, be in a second. Here's the front of the engine. You can see the plenum. 3 parts, just like the real car. And there's the alternator. And while the original kit detailing leaves a little bit to be desired, with all of the extra detailing added here, looks a lot more like the real thing. The ignition, let me see if I can focus in on here. There was no ignition module with this kit, with the original model kit. But since the distributor kit if you can see it here, let me zoom in a little bit more. Since the distributor kit did have the opening for the coil wire, I decided to sort of create an ignition coil using a fuel pump that, according to the kit, gets attached to the side of the block. Now, if you know these old GM engines, that's a mechanical fuel pump which would be attached externally to the block of the car. And we all know, those of us who've had to change fuel pumps and Fieros, that the fuel pump is in the gas tank. So there is no need for a fuel pump on the side of the engine, as you can see here. So what I did was flip it upside down, drill a small hole in it, glue it to the side of the, let's see if we can't focus on that, glue it to the side of the block in the location where the ignition coil would sit, and there we go. We have a makeshift ignition coil. On the engine. I was going to paint the distributor more realistic color, but I did like the way the aluminum looks, so I'm leaving that exactly the way it is. So I may add more detailing for wiring and whatnot, or I may just leave it at this. Looks really nice. Corrected a couple of the flaws of the original design of the model kit. Not all of them, but a couple. Here are the assembly instructions for the engine block itself. And that's where it's at right now. Going with as much detailing as I possibly can on this kit. Try and give it a realistic, make it as realistic as possible. Been very challenging and proven to be a lot of fun. Alright. That's all for now from the 1/25th scale Fiero shop. Right here we have one complete drivetrain, non-detailed. Well, actually, it's a good look at. You can see the difference between one that has been. That's the original distributor that comes with the kit. I didn't build this particular engine, but there you can see no wiring. The PCV is not there. Spark plug wires aren't there. The distributor is just a plastic cap. There's no ignition module. No ignition coil. And here is the old iron Duke 4-cylinder. I may go ahead and just do all of the same detailing on that one as I want to set it up as part of the display for this kit when it's done. And here we have a half completed chassis from a previous model which has seen better days. So that's it from the 1/25th scale Fiero shop. Alright, see you next time.